What's up, guys? Good morning, good afternoon. It's Jesse here. Today, I am accompanied by my friend Atanas, and we're just going to have a nice conversation about LinkedIn, business, mindset, branding, and marketing. So, for the people watching, Atanas, quick intro. What's your business? Who do you help? And what's the main problem that you solve?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me, Jesse. So, what we do is we develop next gen products and packaging from a very special material. It's called mushroom material. It's plant waste and the root structure of mushrooms. And in the past, we've worked with industry leading giants like Mercedes, Kia, Treasury Wine Estate, Dorkin, and we've developed multiple products. And for this year, we decided to go ahead in one specific niche and one specific product, and that's beauty and wellness and premium customer goods. So we needed to build up almost the whole business from the ground up, and that's basically how we met. We needed
That's
help with that.
yeah, that's amazing, man. So, I think you're one of those niches that I didn't work with before. Like I said, you're in a very like specific niche, but the more I learn about your business and like the projects you do, it's very interesting for me because it just opens up this whole loop of like, okay, there's also something besides digital, like which most of my time is spent on like the digital, where you're very much like in the physical product space, right? But then with a very like a big element of like sustainability, right?
Yeah, yeah, something like that. So we started the business to make this material hit mass market adoption faster. To be very honest, it's never been just about sustainability per se. I think that's something that should be a default, right, and not the main selling point. But essentially, what we do is we make packaging into a sales asset or a brand asset. Maybe that's the more precise way of saying it. Most packaging these days is just a brown type of shoebox kind
Yeah,
of situation. And if you're selling something that's more than 50 euros or USD, like doesn't make sense,
yeah,
especially with those new generations, right? That want to feel something while they're touching and unboxing their product. So yeah.
yeah. That's amazing, man. So definitely creating a, like experience around the product. That's cool. So before you were like, let's say before we got together, like what were you trying with LinkedIn or like client acquisition in general? Like before this, like what were the things you're working on and what perhaps was not working?
Well, before we met, our business model was very different. So the way we got clients and the way we got like big industry leading clients while being a super small company is we used to join these competitions that are open pilots. That means that you don't have any funding guaranteed and you're competing with like a huge amount of companies. And what essentially these competitions gave you, apart from taking your time, right? It's a lot of time to fly out somewhere and kind of
Exactly.
present. But the thing that these things gave you is they gave you a stage in front of decision makers and big corporations. And we kind of managed to get a process where we would be picked almost every time. And we get locked in those big projects that took like 6, 12 months. Uh, Before we started working, we wanted to start working with small and medium enterprises and scale ups and do mass market stuff. And we honestly did not have a sales process for that, right? So we had no clue. We were trying cold emails, we were trying posting on LinkedIn systematically, but with no strategy whatsoever and just content.
Yeah.
Uh, so we tried other platforms too, but it was like we've got this limited amount of time to solve the issue and rebuild the business model to get a repeatable sales and marketing channel. And we have limited time to get the perfect channel in place. So it's like, I remember it like it was yesterday, although I know I sound a bit cliche, but it's like, woke up, got to my office. First thing I saw is uh, I saw a post from you that was like mentioned by another creator that I followed, and it took me like less than a second to kind of click, go through the whole funnel, read through the whole program, and just text you and say, "Hey man,
That's
want
it.
no more." I mean,
Yeah, that's cool, man. And I like that you already like touched upon like the power of content, right? Like you saw something, you checked it out, and that's cool. So in terms of like the things that you've been like doing so far, like what was some of the things that I would say that helped things like click for you? Was it like a certain system, like an idea, a different like paradigm shift, or a way of showing up?
To me, the most important thing and a thing that gave me the most value was the fact that everything was systematized. And I know that this word is very broad. I know it can mean a lot of stuff, but to me, a system means a step by step guide that you can follow and you get predictable outcomes. So now implementation is no longer the issue, it's how you implement. That's the thing that you need to do. And for me, that's very important because it takes away one less variable off the table. And now I can focus on trying out different things, but I'm still using the same system, right? I still have it in place. And now I know that every part of my day, I have this set amount of time where I do a certain amount of stuff. And then I iterate, which is beautiful because it takes away a lot of the guesswork.
I love that, man. I love that. That's I would say one of the missions that I have to remove the guesswork that you guys have. Um, I say this often, as in like information and knowledge this day, like it's June 2025, like it's not no longer the bottleneck. Like you and I can write an essay on quantum physics under 5 minutes. Well, I never picked up that book, and you might have never picked up the book, right?
Mhm.
So it's the same with LinkedIn. Like we can figure out, okay, I get the theory how to do X, Y, and Z. It's just that, as you said perfectly, it's like how to do it and the sequence of doing things, but also I think what not to do, right? Because in the beginning you said you did already the posting in a systematic way, but it didn't turn into. I think the only result you got out of that was frustration and burnout.
Well, frustration, yeah. Burnout, kinda, because I just wrote about stuff that I had, and the main goal was like put something out there. But frustration, definitely, because some of my posts went viral, which I know sounds like humble brag, but you post for a certain outcome. You
Oh, sure.
post for leads, you post for sales, and then I got some posts that did very well, but it attracted the totally wrong type of customer. And I wasted a lot of time kind of going through it and trying to get back to people that I would essentially never do business with or do like itty bitty projects that don't move the needle.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. So to to dive a little bit deeper on that topic, like what is what you say, like what is one thing business owners or agency owners misunderstand uh, about content, or we wish you understand more now that you've been through the program so far?
Well, uh, I think I'm right at that slope of the Dunning-Kruger curve
Mm,
where now I'm starting to know more, and now I feel like I don't know shit. But what I can definitely say is that the right type of content and the right type of strategy, so it's usually a mix of multiple types of content, at least from my experiments up until this point, this has given the best results, is very hard to find. And what I see most people being afraid to do is like they get invested into one thing and then they're afraid to kind of do new stuff. So they never test. They never do anything risky because they're worried about what that's going to do to their kind of image, to how people look at them, to their business. And that's just bullshit because honestly, nobody cares. So people see your viral stuff, people see your best performing stuff, but even the guys that and girls go through your whole posts, like post page, they kind of skip through the things that don't perform.
yeah,
So you're free to test. So maybe the most eye-opening limiting belief was just post it and test and be very brave in what you're talking about because honestly nobody cares.
yeah. Yeah, I love that you mentioned that because that's one of the lessons that I'm glad I learned as well, like along the way. It's kind of like the creator. I don't know the right name for it, but as a creator, we might be so, or like as the person who creates the piece of content, we're so in it. So for us, it's like, okay, this thing has to perform. And then when it doesn't perform, people get very self aware, like, oh shit, no one saw it. Should I delete it? Should I repost it? But then I'm like, hey, no one saw it anyways. Because you saw it and you spent the time on it. It's like, oh, okay. There's like this almost this ego is being involved with it. So I'm very glad that you say that now you start to be detached more and just like, okay, if I just focus on the single inputs of like the 3 to 5 posts, I think you do 7 posts per week, right?
Yeah,
And just like, okay, kind of detach from the outcome. Like, okay, how can I perform or say like put in the best like post, understanding that in the long run it will all work out, right?
yeah, 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 exactly. So that's a key learning that I've had up until this point. And paradoxically, those initial posts that I did that went viral, they're part of my strategy now, but they're like 1/7 of what I do per week. And they still perform in a specific way that I didn't expect. But I can tell you a bit more about that later.
I would love to hear it now, like if you could share some of the insights that why did you decide to keep them in, like what were some of the promising like results or metrics that you saw that okay, I've done this at the start when I was like without without a clue, and now
Yeah.
that you are more advanced you still do those things, like what made you decide that?
Well, I stopped for a long amount of time. So my journey with this whole thing is I wrote about what makes the material special and crazy things we did with the material. And that gathered a whole lot of people from science, from design, but not people that we work with, right? We work with cosmetics brands, we work with beauty brands, fragrance, consumer goods, stuff like that. And essentially, for a long time, I just did posts after that about projects we've done. So, concrete stuff about the material. And that went from general things about how this works, how this looks, to then the objection crusher, which is a term that came about when we started working together, right? The objection crusher, which
Yeah,
is essentially you do calls with prospects in Fathom, you get that transcript, and you get all of their objections, and then each objection becomes a new post, right? So
man.
that's what I did for a long time. Burned me out, totally burned me out,
Yeah,
because every day I needed to do a new visual, a new photo, some new angle about a project. Took like 4 or 5 hours a day. So then, kind of something happened, and that's I saw the top creators were just curating, right? So they took other people's good examples and used them as case studies. Start doing that. Started with once a week. Now it's 4 times a week, and this is my best performing content. And then just my hand raisers on Wednesday, which are for anybody watching, those are the direct calls to action to people. I use my stuff. And then those other ones that are about the material itself, 3 months later, believe it or not, like two big companies contacted me.
I love that.
Yeah. So I put them out there, and to this day, they perform the best. So I usually get like 20, 30 likes. On these, I get like 200, 300 likes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great result, man. I love that. Like, definitely finding like your own strategy in there. So I wanna zoom in on one thing you said, that you spent 4 to 5 hours on LinkedIn and content at some point, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So how is your like day to day looking right now? Like, talk me through how you're showing up. Like, what does the content and the system look like today?
Well, I know that the best answer would be it's like down to 1 hour, but it's still 4 hours. I'm gonna tell you why. It's not that I didn't learn from the things that happened, but it's like I see LinkedIn, the way you structured it actually is a very good way to kind of explain LinkedIn. You have the content, you have the engagement, right?
Mm-hmm.
and then you have the outreach. So all of these to me are like a separate universe, and I started sucking at each of those. And it takes 4 hours focusing on one of them to kind of get good, and then you pause that and go to the next one. So now I am working on my outreach strategy, but what I can definitely say is that from 4 hours of doing content, now I'm down to like 15 to 30 minutes to create a very high quality post. And I'm guessing that that's going to happen with the outreach as well and with the engagement as well. It just takes a bit of time to go through the motions and, yeah, figure out ways to implement it work.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's a there's of course a combination between like the understanding, building the system, and then executing it, right? So I think now you're just still like spending some time on it because you're combining like the learning and the execution.
Yeah, yeah.
Like in
It's,
6 weeks from now, you're like, okay, you can just execute, for example, with the outreach, similar to what you do
yeah,
now with the content, because you've done
yeah.
the study before.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just a process. I see it like every day I get faster, every day I get better. So, example, first time I started DMing people and responding, I sucked so bad. I mean, I was like that annoying salesperson that kind of overwhelms you with all that information that nobody asked for, right? And
Yeah.
people just didn't respond. So I got myself today, like that's maybe a week in me trying to figure this out. I generally start conversations with people, right? And it works. It works. It just takes time for you to figure it out. And first, it took like 5 minutes to figure out what to respond. And after you do a certain amount of conversations, it's down to a couple of seconds. So it becomes second nature, right? Like I don't know if you remember, but in the community, somebody had a post, asked for feedback. So it was easier for me to kind of copy paste it and reformat it, and I did that like in under 30 seconds, right? The person was super thankful and thought that I written the post, but I had done this so many times
Yeah, yeah.
that right now I think I can do it faster than GPT.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Like what I'm very passionate about is like like helping you build skills, right? Instead of
Mhm.
just like, hey, go through this, check this video, and then just learn something. Instead of what you said, like now you become a better copywriter, you become a better messenger. Like you're just able to have better sales conversations, and that's just like a meta skill that carries over into everything, right? In terms of like better sales conversations, better like DM conversations, perhaps even better like text messages with like people in your personal life, because you just are better like formulating it.
Exactly. It's actually it's also the offer. I mean, because we are rebuilding the business from the ground up, we need a new offer.
Yeah,
And with the system that you did, we redid the whole offer. And in the system, you have nowhere to go, right? It's like you start doing it and you just need to perform. So
yeah,
that means that you constantly take everything and you iterate, reiterate, reiterate, and with each cycle, it kind of gets better, right? So that may be the most valuable thing apart from the skills, which I think are the most important. So in terms of marketing, there was also a level up there too, because a main thing is distilling, like with the hook, right? When you do
yeah.
content, the hooks and the rehooks, it's distilling what makes the whole thing important to somebody that just skims through it, right? And that's the essence of marketing. It's also the essence of design, by the way. It's taking a huge concept and kind of making the smallest little thing that contains the pure essence of the things you're going to
Yeah,
say.
it's what they say about the design from Apple, right? Because it looks so
Yeah.
simplistic and so minimalistic, but it's usually because they spend like a gazillion hours into the design by by eliminating as much noise as possible,
Yeah. Yeah.
just adding bells and whistles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a great metaphor, because I think like great LinkedIn posts have that too, right? Like you trim the fat and you just say exactly what you need to be, but with like it still needs to be aesthetic. And I don't just mean like formatting, but it also means that a post from you should read like a post from you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That ideally, like when I put my hand over like the name and the profile picture, and I just see your post, I should kind of understand that it's your post, whether it's the formatting or the types of words you use or specific structures and all these things, right?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So on that point, uh, you know how when you enter a niche, you kind of start moving with it, right? And what I see LinkedIn, it's developing very fast because of AI.
Mhm.
So people do not like reading posts that seem AI generated. They hate it. They skip through it. But on the other hand, AI saves 3.5 hours of writing a good post. Now, if you're an expert, I guess that falls down to an hour, but it's still an hour of your day, right? You could be selling, you could be marketing, you could be building. So, a very big thing was how do we use AI to create content, but it still gets the message across, still is in my specific voice in this case, and says the things that I want to say. So that was very hard to do too. But your systems help quite a bit. I mean, the
Yeah,
custom GPTs are just magic, yeah.
yeah. So you've built them, and now they're pretty much like operating for you. Like you said, you spend 20 to 15 to 20 minutes on content.
Yeah, and the system that I do is I typically have two GPTs built. One is with the authority figure system, and the other one is more like a lyricist GPT that does like those long form type of
Yeah.
content. And I do a conversation between those two. To start, I always do the draft myself,
Hmm.
which in most cases sounds very clunky. Then the GPTs kind of nail that message across, and then they format it, and then I go through it again and reformat the whole thing so that my initial message becomes clear. And that's why they always sound like me. So I think that people that these days just use the GPTs to do posts, it just sounds the same. It sounds fake. It sounds robotic, and nobody really likes it. But you can definitely use AI to make it sound better, right? More coherent, more formatted, better wording in some cases.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's like the strategy works. It's just like, okay, how good are you able to make it work for yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's cool, man. So you talked a little bit about like how you've seen LinkedIn changed in terms of like the
Mhm.
AI, like flood of content and whatnot. What is something that you have changed your mind on about LinkedIn?
Hmm. Very good question, and I find it very difficult to answer because I honestly had no opinion going into LinkedIn. I had no idea. To me, it was just a potential sales channel, and I read in a couple of places that it's not saturated with creators like other channels are. To me, that kind of signals blue ocean, right?
Mhm.
And the way people know LinkedIn is like the place where you get your driver's license and you post this long a
Happy to
post,
announce.
thinking like everybody from the DMV that you got your license. Wow. So that's how people know LinkedIn. So honestly, man, I had no opinions that broke apart from the fact that it can be a very effective sales channel, incredibly effective sales channel. So this, I think, I very much uh, underestimated, right?
Nice. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on the blue ocean for sure, even to this date. So, in terms of any wins, like calls, deals, conversations,
Mhm.
did you recently have like some of those that made you go like, okay, this LinkedIn thing is actually working for my business?
No, I had those the first month we started working together. I mean, before we did that, I had like 3 months of consistent posting, and this posts gave me a lot of reach. And when we started working together, I kind of tailored that down to a specific niche that I actually needed to work with, right?
Hmm.
And my reach went down, and I was super scared because I said, "Come on, that's like 3 months of work." But then, it's like reach that you don't need, right? Those are people that you cannot do business with. So then slowly and steadily, I started building up a huge amount of ideal customers within my contacts. And I kind of figure out what I should write about and how it should be written so that it's shown to them. And yeah, from that point on, I got various types of calls. So essentially, from the get go, I got a few calls, and by month two, I had done a complete ROI on basically a thing that we worked on. So the investment I did in the program got like a 1.5 return on investment within like 1.5 months,
Nice.
paradoxically enough. Yeah.
That's good.
But the thing is, to this day, I'm working on the signal because the things that I got in terms of customers are not one to one on what I'm doing in terms of offers, right?
Hmm.
So it was always a bit different, always a bit modified, but definitely I'm getting more and more calls. For last month, I got 19 calls.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's great, man. So 19 calls in
yeah,
the month of May. I love that. So what is
yeah.
something that you're like still trying to dial in? As you said, you currently have a few clients on, let's say, different-ish like offers. What are some of the things that you're currently trying to dial in?
Well, first and foremost, I'm trying to dial in the signal. So
Okay.
it's an iterative process, definitely, and I'm getting closer and closer every week. Just takes a bit of time, but that's what my content should be so that it's shown constantly in front of the people that I want it to be shown to. Because last week I got my first lead, that's inbound lead, that kind of DM'd me out of nowhere and said, "You guys are doing some awesome things that I want to do in my business. Can we chat? Can you reach out?" Right? Today I got another one. I just did a small comment beneath her post, and then she said, "DM me so we can continue this conversation." So essentially, I'm getting more and more of those, but I'm definitely trying to figure out how I should tailor the content so I get a better signal. The second thing is, while I'm doing this, the offer is getting improved, right? So it's molded. So you send it to people, some respond, some don't respond, and then you kind of make it a bit better, slowly and steadily, what it has inside, what it doesn't. So this is also something I am testing and I'm working on right now. Uh, Honestly, I think to get a very realistic test, I need to finish all the components like the VSL, the offer document, final version at least, final, like
For now.
yeah, for now, and also the questionnaire that's gonna validate people. And I think that when I have that, I think that that's gonna give me the best test results. But for now, I have stellar results, man. I can only imagine what's gonna happen when I kind of finish all of those.
Hmm.
New thing that I'm thinking about is pairing this with cold email. This worked very well too. Like do cold emails and then add the people from the cold emails on LinkedIn. So this is something that worked too. But yeah, that's about it.
I love that, man. I love that. It's great that you said that in terms of like dialing in the system. Like now you have the system running, you start to execute, and then of course there's always different like elements and iterations to roll out. So I can't even know like what kind of like iteration or version we are from our offer doc. Like we have had thousands of conversations, right? And all these conversations, it's literally like feedback about things that are not clear, whether it's in your content, on your offer, or your messaging. So it's constant like iterative process. But I think if I'm like listening to you, it's just like the basic don't change, right? It's posting the content, it's sending the messages, it's following up the right way, it's starting the conversations, it's just doing these things, but then you keep doing them better by having the reps you've put in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And maybe the most important thing is the most helpful thing the system has done for me is I managed to very clearly compartmentalize and split the different aspects of what you need to be doing on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So from a mishmash of things and advice, you get like four clear directions with like some steps to each, right? And then you can start doing them. And what I'm seeing is It's like building up a whole robot, right? You start with the
Yeah.
legs, you suck at the legs, then you kind of start building them. You learn over a couple of weeks, and then you master that, right? So then you move to the next leg, then you move to the body, then you move to the head. And like slowly and steadily, you build it up. You see it after you've done the whole thing, and you say, oh crap, now I can make it better. And you start again. So, but the cool thing is while you're doing that, you're actually getting customers. So that's the most important part because whatever we say, a business needs sales, right? Needs revenue.
Yeah.
While you're learning, while you're developing, you need to kind of get additional traction. So that's even with the basics, you're gonna get that. So that's
Yeah. Would you say that you're like now building a system that you can use for like the next few years ahead?
oh yeah, and I can go on better. I mean, I'm building systems around absolutely every aspect of everything I'm doing
Cool.
based on this, so I can then give it to other people from my team. So
That's
this
amazing.
means it's going to make expanding and scaling a lot easier.
What are some of the like the tasks or like one of some of the like the things that you like think about like delegating first?
Hmm. Well, I haven't thought about that yet because I haven't built the robot yet, right? I still have a couple of things. I still need to finish the whole flow, the whole sales flow. I still need to get a systematized way to build lead magnets, which needs to happen weekly, ideally. But the first thing that comes to mind is adding the ICPs. So that's like 30 minutes to 40 minutes of day that needs to kind of go somewhere. Second thing is engagement. Although I'm not quite sure that I want to delegate that because I actually write my comments, so I don't use any GPTs,
Hmm.
which means I do take the time to read other people's posts and then create something new that optimally should help. But maybe for the likes, that's something that can be outsourced. And yeah, I don't think I can do outsource outreach too because that's I'm currently figuring it out, and there's the personal touch that needs to happen there, right?
Hmm.
So honestly, I don't think I can give you a very good answer because I first need to do the whole thing, and then I can figure out how I can kind of cut it and delegate. But on the other hand, with the sales calls, there I can delegate because I do calls. I have systems now for discovery calls, for assessment calls, for secondary calls after the offer is sent. I have questionnaires. I have forms that I fill out before and after, so I keep track.
Yeah. So you've been like you said like systemizing the whole process there as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's all based on the system that you provided.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, it's what I refer to often, right? Like you're not a content creator, you're a business owner. So we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to build systems that facilitate you in what you do. Like marketing is not or LinkedIn, it's not your core business, right? It's like running
yeah,
the agency and like making
yeah,
sure that your clients get the results and doing all these things. And marketing should just be a day in the week or a few moments in the week
yeah,
instead of what you said in the beginning, like this mismatch of tasks. Like, oh shit, what should I do today? Like, I assume that you was staring at like a blank page, like, hmm, what am I gonna write today? Who am I gonna message? Who am I gonna follow up with?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a complete mess. Yeah, it's not like that today. No, uh, it's super structured, and based on that, I can dedicate a certain amount. So I don't dedicate like 1 hour a day. That's definitely not it. But you can do it with 1 hour a day with the system.
Yeah,
It's just that I am focusing heavily on sales and iteration, which means that I get tons of value by pushing more reps in every day.
cool. So, what is something you mentioned a little bit, I think, already, but what is like the next move you're excited to test or build?
Well, I'm very excited about the VSL. So that's going to be a first. Like a proper consumer in the 21st century, I bought all the equipment.
Yeah, yeah,
So now I'll do version one, and I'm sure it is gonna go like it goes every time. It's like the same with designs, the same with everything. You do version one, you're super excited. It looks like shit. and then you do version 2, version 3, version 4, and when you forget the number of the versions, it's usually when you get a very beautiful product.
Yeah.
So same with the offer doc, but what I'm most excited is finishing up the whole flow and experimenting with that, because everything that I've added incrementally has given me better results. So I can only guess, right, how awesome it's gonna look like when it's all complete.
Yeah. So we're slowly turning your robot into what's his name from Transformers, like Optimus Prime, like
Yeah,
the OG. Like
yeah, 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 yeah,
in the beginning, you just have like the robot, and then okay, let's add the Optimus Prime shoulder pad.
yeah, yeah,
Suddenly you
yeah,
start to add to, like, instead of building the shoulder, you just start to replace the shoulder, right? Like you already now have a outreach strategy in place, but instead of like building a new one, you just improve the messaging, right? Like you know which messages to send at which stage of the funnel. It's just that okay, this message perhaps doesn't get me the right conversion rate. Okay, let's tweak these little words, and now it's done.
yeah, 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 yeah. So still finding the words to tweak to get consistent stuff, but I have found a lot that work.
Yeah,
And I still have those wow moments where I put something out and I don't know why it works, and then I need to analyze.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah, it generally works incredibly well. But maybe something that was a big learning was, I know you always talk about going lean, right, with software,
Hmm.
but honestly, like two softwares, two add-ons, totally different ball game when you implement them, right? So I know that Sales Navigator is not mandatory, but it saves me like a ton of time, and this is in no way sponsored, right? So it just it just saved me such a huge amount of time. It makes everything super streamlined. So
Nice.
in terms of ICPs and engagement, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is Condo. I mean, you showed me the software, told me it was a game changer. I think that in 2025, everybody's sick of that word, right? Because too many
Exactly.
things were promised to be game changers and they were not. But yeah, Condo is definitely something that does what it says it should do. It makes LinkedIn's inbox like from shit to something that actually
Oh
works.
man, yeah. It's again, every time that I mention Condo, I'm like, guys, I hate to use the word game changer, but it honestly is. And then,
Yeah, it is.
like, without error, the people that start using it say the same, and I'm like, it is true. So I spoke with the co-founder, like I think like 12 months ago, or like the founder of the tool, and he was like, hey, we have this tool, you want to test it? And at that point, we're like testing so many like CRM tools, and I was like, oh, let's just give it a try. And ever since we stuck with it, and yeah, I just spread the word. Like yesterday I recorded a YouTube video, and also in that video I'm like, hey guys, this is no endorsement, no sponsor, but I'm just very much a fan of this tool, and if you want a breakdown of this tool, drop the comment, because it's just, it makes the LinkedIn inbox so much better. Like for
Yeah,
anyone watching, like if you're already like sending messages on LinkedIn, the inbox is just an absolute mess. Like I don't know how a billion-dollar company can have like an inbox UI like that, but again, that's a discussion for a different day. And Condo just adds like an amazing like UI over like separate inbox with like the
yeah,
ability just to put everything in buckets. And again, we come down to building systems, right? So instead of you thinking like, okay, who should I follow up with, you just go to your bucket with follow-ups, and you know exactly who to follow up with and what message to send. So instead of all this, what you said in the beginning, like the whole guesswork and thinking has been eliminated. So
yeah.
for you, it's Condo and Sales Navigator, the tools that you use most.
Yeah, and the super surprising thing about Condo is you expect it to be just an inbox tool, right? But then you can build a whole CRM with something super simple. I think Condo is like the Apple of I don't even know the software type, but it's like one small thing like a label and labeling system. You can build a whole CRM with steps, and you can kind of look at which person is where, and you can
Yeah,
move them. So yeah, I think that's like a whole separate thing. You can build a lot of content around, but it's super useful, super useful.
yeah, that's amazing, man. I love
Yeah,
that. Cool. So, man, this has been such a good conversation. Would you say there is like anything else that we missed? Anything that you want to share about LinkedIn marketing, how you run your business now?
Hmm. Well, it's get started as soon as possible and don't stop iterating. And the more reps you get in, the faster it gets going, right? So it's that would be the main thing.
Nice, nice, cool. So, I know you said it in the beginning, but I would love for you to repeat it. So, if people are interested in what you do and how you can help them, where should I go and what do should I look for?
Well, let's try this. So they should go to my LinkedIn. They
Nice.
should go to my LinkedIn. So my name should be somewhere around here, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I'll go
But
ahead.
what we do is we help companies in the premium sector, that's beauty, fragrance, consumer goods, make their packaging into an actual sales tool that increases their growth exponentially. And we do that with a very special material. It's called mycelium composite. If nobody knows what it is, because one big finding was that my top of funnel was weak because people don't know about this material, but this is made of mushrooms.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we use this material and a system that we developed over 5 years working with the best companies in the world to create design that works. So most people think that packaging should be pretty. We think packaging should sell. That's the main thing. Now, how it sells, that's the main thing that people need to figure out.
Amazing, man. I will make sure that all the links to your LinkedIn and everything are listed so they know where to find you.
Yeah, cool.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Well, thanks for your insight, Atanas, and we keep in touch.
All right, Jesse. Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you.
See you next week. Bye.